So the album Gloria Regali was basically inspired because we got asked to make one song for a trailer. And we were watching all kinds of trailers online to get inspired, you know, for the style and everything, and we made it. And when we were done with that song, we were like, that was so much fun. We loved it so much. We were like, what if we made a whole album of like 10 songs in that genre? Like, that would be the most fun we've ever had making music in our lives. And that's exactly what ended up happening, you know?
Yeah, we just ended up spending a week last fall writing the other 9 tracks, and we just kind of flew through them and threw paint at the canvas. It was fun. It was crazy week.
It was super fun, especially, I mean, working with Lauren, like, she's a lyrical freak, and she's just genius the way her mind works and the lines she comes up with. I'm like, I don't even want to try to throw an idea out when it comes to lyrics with her, because it's like, I'll mess it up, you know what I mean? And she's coming up with, you know, all this stuff. So we were making the song Gloria Regali, you know, I'm like playing with a cello or something on the computer, and she goes, what if we say a line in Italian? And I'm like, of course, right? Like that, naturally, that's what, you know. Yeah. So she just comes up and says, Gloria Regali, and I don't know how you got there.
He started playing that crazy cello part that's in the middle of the title track, and something in me, like, I just had those words in my mind for some reason. And so I looked him up on Google, and Google Translate said Gloria Regali, Gifts of Glory, Italian to English. We actually wrote that song, I remember saying it was gonna be like a requiem, which is a song of peace that you sing at a funeral. And so, like, one of the big themes of a lot of trailers that we've seen that we wanted to write music for were about kind of dealing with death and dealing with tragedy, but in a way that's kind of poignant and meaningful and less dark and despair. So I was reading about requiems and I was like, let's do that. So it's kind of like a sending out of a soul into eternity. And it's super old school writing.
So, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was super fun too, because like diving into that genre and that sound, I know for me, like in my head, I was picturing things like, you know, dragons and castles and battles in the snow with swords and axes and kings and queens and all that stuff. Like, that's, how do you make something sound like that? People will see that in their head when they just hear something. Yeah. And basically make a soundtrack for something that doesn't actually exist, you know?
And with this being our own project and just being like our own world we were creating and soundtracking, I was able to write in a lot of different styles, from kind of like pop type lyrics to hymn like lyrics. There was like nobody to tell us, there was no brief or anything to tell us that that wasn't gonna work.
I remember there was a moment at the end of one of the songs where I like kind of experimented and did something a little crazy, but it still fit and it still worked. And then I was like, it was like a moment of realization, like, we can do whatever we want here. Like, this is not a song for radio. This is not an album in a traditional sense. Like, it's more like there's freedom to be loose. And I think as soon as that happened, that moment, it just kind of like the whole thing just kind of ended up making itself. Forever.